I've created this series of videos for Campaign Cartographer 3 that focuses on particular features. Love the software. It has amazing functionality. Some of that functionality is you just don't use that often, and I'll occasionally forget how to use it. So I decided to create these short videos on different features that are really powerful, really helpful, but you probably won't use them all the time. And that way you can go back and jump right in and review how to use that feature. Today's feature is how to place symbols on a circle or arc. So let's get started. I've started out with a dungeon map. It could really be any kind of map. And I put a grid. It's important to put a grid when you're creating objects on a circle, and I'll show you why here in just a second. The other thing we want to make sure is we want to shut off snap. So first of all, figure out, place your grid, figure out where you want these objects placed. So let's say in this case, I'm going to create pillars around a circle. Maybe you're putting rocks around a circle. So first of all, I want to figure out how much space that's going to take up. So let's say up here in my map, I figured out that the diameter is going to be 50. So what I'll do is I will keep this really simple by going somewhere on the map and pick a spot where I can align this just perfectly. So I'm going to find the dead center. I'm going to click and I'm going to go out 50. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So I'm at 50 feet right now. I'm going to make sure also that I want the edge of the circle to be right on the line, right on the grid. This will make aligning a lot easier. Now in my templates and sheets, my sheets, I've created a template sheet. And I also created a template layer. And so I made sure that I have those selected. That way it makes it easy to delete your circle, which is just really a template. So if you didn't do that, go ahead and add those. So I have my circle. It's on the template sheet. Next, we're going to place things on around this template. So I want to go to my symbols. And I'll do the same thing here. Go to my symbols on my layers. And I'm going to go over here and grab a pillar. Now, when you grab something, a symbol, sometimes the center is the center of the symbol, and sometimes the focal point is off-center. So if it's off-center, it's a little trickier to align. But in this case, I was fortunate that the pillars are, it has the center point. So now I'm going to come up here and align it. Wow, I got it right away. I found the center, so I know I'm right on that line. I'm going to hit escape. So now I have my first symbol placed on the arc or on my circle. Now what I want to do is figure out how many of these I want. So in my case, I think I'm going to want 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I want 8 of them. Make sure to count the one you placed. So I want 8. I'm going to come over here to the copy feature, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to choose circular array. Now the first thing I'm going to do is select the object that I'm going to be duplicating, the entity. So I've done that now with my left mouse button, clicked on it, and I'm going to right click and say do it. The first question it asks me is how many of these I'm going to have, how many spokes, if you will. So in my case, I am going to have 8. It puts it down here also. So if I wanted 4, I could put the number 4. In my case, I want 8. So I could hit enter now, or I can just type in 8 and hit enter. Then it's asking me for how many strings, how many of these, rings, how many rings. So in my case, there's 1. So you can just hit enter because it'll use the default value. Now it wants to know the center of one of these rings? Well, that's why we aligned it to the grid, so I can find that center super easy. And there's my center. I'm going to click. And that is the origin. And it says angle between spokes. So it went ahead and calculated out the angles. So it divided 8 into 360, which is the degrees of a circle, and it came up with 45. So it's going to place them every 45 degrees. I'm just going to go ahead and press enter. And voila, they're all placed. I can refresh my screen, and there's all my symbols. Now, to delete my circle, I could go to my templates and just select my, select my template sheet and then just delete anything found in there. In this case, we just have a circle to get rid of, so I'll just click on the circle and delete it. And now we have our pillars. At this point, though, I may have wanted them up here. So how do I move them? Obviously, we could just click here on the move and highlight them all. But instead, what I'd recommend is going up to Tools, Groups, Group, and then I would select them and say Do It. Now they're all one entity. So if I move, they all move together. Now let's say, for instance, I don't want the same object in every spot. I want something different in each one, maybe a unique rock. I'm going to go ahead and undo this. So let's say I wanted a different rock to appear here in each of these. So I would still go through the same process and duplicate a common object. I wouldn't have grouped them, but then what I would do is set all of these to the template, and then I would change my sheet and my layer to symbols. I'd go over and grab different styles of rocks, or maybe the same rock, and turn it so that it looks like a different rock, and place it on top of each of these circles. Then I would delete either the circles, or I could just click here and do auto hide everything, show template, and hit OK. And then that way I could highlight all of my circles and the circle and delete everything at one time. And then that way my rocks are spread out equally. Now, of course, you could just try to manually place them, but this will get you a lot more precision in doing it this way. Well, I hope this video has helped out, and good mapping. Thank you.